What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're taking a look at a rebuild of a previously existing title. There was a game about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer than that, I don't really know, called Blackthorn Arena, and it was a medieval Lannister simulator where you are running a strategy RPG Ludus for gladiators that go out and fight monsters and other teams of gladiators for gold and prestige and all that kind of stuff. And it's surprisingly deep. Like, there's a lot of stuff to fiddle around with inside of this game. I played it for about 2 hours now prior to the recording of the video, and it still kind of suffers from the same issues that plagued the first game, in that, like, there's a lot of things to fiddle around with, and it's got a surprisingly deep character creator for your gladiators, but you are going to run into some bugs and some wonkiness. This would definitely fall inside the avenue of one of the more janky games out there, but if you have a tolerance for jank and you can make it through a Piranha Bytes game, you'll probably be okay with this one. So today we're going to take a look at the game for about 30 minutes. We're going to give it a go. We're going to see if you guys enjoy your stay. If you don't, that's fine too. I got a link for you down below in the description. You can check that out there, and then on top of that, you can also find links to my Discord and my Twitch stream in case you wanted to hang out live. But let's go ahead and gladiate. We'll leave it on normal difficulty, and we'll give this thing a run.
300 years ago, the ancient Tali Empire fell apart in an unprecedented disaster called the Great Decadence. Its land was divided into several kingdoms, and its many slaves and gladiators were either liberated or exiled. Those grandiose arenas of which the Talian people were once so proud are now all but abandoned or destroyed. Only a small part of this ancient recreation survived, lingering in a brutal land full of chaos and disorder, called the Freelands. In the depths of the underground, among its abandoned ruins, 10 arenas remain and persevere in this gory sport. For many generations, your family has presided over the oldest of these, the Blackthorn Arena. While under your grandfather's rule, the arena's fame reached its zenith, as did your family's wealth. Then, it fell under the care of your father. He proved to be unfit, and the Blackthorn Arena's reputation and popularity declined irreversibly. To save the crumbling family business, your father did something shameful, dishonest, and unacceptable to his peers, which is using the forbidden art of magic in the games. His trick was discovered, and he was killed by assassins from other arenas. After your father's death, an enemy took over the Blackthorn Arena, driving you and your mother out of your home. 10 years later, you've returned under the guise of a nameless merchant. The only possession you have is a bag of coins. The past 10 years have seen you sacrifice everything you've earned to restore your family's arena. Upon your return, an aged, loyal servant of your family recognized you. He swears to help you reclaim your family's glory. 2 days later, under his arrangement, you enrolled in a small match in a nameless arena with only 2 untrained gladiators. And this is where your road to restoration begins.
You guys just said that he damaged the family irreversibly. Just a little bit of a fair warning as we go into this first fight that we're opening up on. The gladiators you get at the beginning of the game are completely random, and sometimes you get really good ones, and sometimes you get really bad ones. So we'll see how this plays out for our first arena fight. It may turn out okay. We've got a big two-handed guy, and it looks like he's a dwarf, so this might work out pretty well for us. We'll kind of like see how the whole thing plays. But there is a chance in this title that you're going to have to kind of like re-roll the opening go a little bit, because starting out with good gladiators, this was also a problem in the first game. Wow, that guy got bopped. You may have to mess around with your opening gladiators a little bit just to get them into the spot that you want them to be in. You go ahead and 23 damage right there. Let's put them on there. This game follows the combat system that you may or may not have seen from a game like Baldur's Gate. So it is real-time with pause, but technically turn-based while you're playing around with it. We seem to be doing somewhat okay. You guys are lined up, though, and you're getting cleaved, so please stop getting cleaved. There you go. Get him up out of your business. That was actually a really good kick. And then over here, let him re-evaluate on our duelist, and then get him behind him. Give yourself Battle Fury for more damage, and you've got abilities you can trigger down here, tab target style from like an MMO, but it looks like we got an okay starting team. I don't hate what we have going on right now. He seems to be pretty dodgy, and the other guy seems to hit pretty hard, and that's all that we need, is we need somebody that can avoid getting hit, and we need somebody that can hit consistently. And so it looks like we got lucky on our opening draw right there. We are victorious. We've got to decide if the enemy lives or dies. Thumbs down. You get favor most of the time for executing people. I've played for a couple of hours, and I've never seen a situation where it was advantageous to let people live. It seems like the crowd is pretty bloodthirsty, and they always want you to murder everybody. But our little dwarf over here, nice, dude. We got level ups right there. Completing combats is going to give you XP, and now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the actual meat and potatoes of the game, which is the management portion, where you're deciding what you want your gladiators to be doing in their free time, whether they're training or other stuff. This guy is a servant from our father's house. Not relevant what he's saying right now. He's just doing some light tutorializing. He's come back to visit now that he knows that we're back in town. And this is your Gladiator Ludus. You've got cells. This is where you've got room for gladiators to be inside of, and you've got to hire associative guards in order to make sure they don't escape and run away. We've got a training ground where people get 100 XP per day for sitting here training. We've got a treatment room for anybody that's wounded, and we do have 2 wounded guys right now, so I'll put them inside of there. We've got a warden. This is our torture room, so if you've got a gladiator that's being particularly unruly and generally just being a pain in your ass, you can put them in the stockade for a little bit, and it'll fix them right back up. We've got a dining hall over here, which supplies us with morale if we have a seasoned cook inside of here. Alchemy for making potions, and smithies for crafting gear, creating weapons, and making armor and things like that in order to make yourself more efficient in combat. Let's have a look at these 2 guys that we got. And so we've got ourselves Madison Gatebreaker. Madison Gatebreaker has 2-handed skill, which is really good. And then your characters are comprised of their weapon proficiencies, which each have their own skill trees and passives. And then they're also comprised of 2 classes that they start out with. And it looks like, actually, he's only got 1 class, so he's all in on Fighter. That's okay. We'll boost that on up. I kind of wish they had taken those 2 points right there with kick and put them into fighter so that we get the damaging passive. And then we also need to get over here to reduce the weight cap on all of our armor. You do get to pick people's equipment, and the game does have a very, very in-depth character sheet with tons of stats that you've got to play around with. It's got attributes. Leveling up gives you a couple of skill points that you can apply either towards your class or your weapon skills. And then you get attributes as well, which are just going to give you baseline stat increases so that you have a better chance of surviving inside of combat. You can also adjust people's tactics over here if that's the sort of thing that toots your horn. You can get them to rotate different directions. You can get them to only attack when you tell them to attack. You can have them be cautious, aggressive, so on and so forth. I haven't really had to fiddle with it too much. It hasn't really been a concern, and so we'll leave that kind of where it's at for right now. We're set up pretty well with the gladiators that we have. I'm going to go and rest for 1 turn so that they all get their HP back. How close is I have a lower level guy right here, Spalding. If we train for 3 days, he'll hit level 3, and I think that's a really good thing. We are losing money, though, right now while we do this. 2 of your gladiators are having a lively disagreement. As their master, what course of action do you choose to reconcile them? We will punish them both. So their obedience is going to go up, but they lost some HP. Fine by me. I'm just trying to get them leveled up at the moment. There's not a wide variety of events that can happen inside of this game. I think I've gotten the same 4 or 5 events just over and over and over again during the time that I've played. I would highly recommend that they diversify that. You need to get that out to enough to where they're not predictable and they're acting on cooldowns so that you don't see them too frequently. As it stands right now, I've seen the same event twice, 2 days in a row. And it's one of those things where you're like, all right, well, I just did this. It might make sense from the characters are disagreeing standpoint, but from a gameplay standpoint, it makes the game feel considerably cheaper, I suppose. But we should have level ups to fool around with now on Spalding, which is great. He's got 6 potential points right here. He is, where are his points at? So what does he do? He's got Defender. That's really good. I like that. Does he have any shield skills? He does not have any shield skills, so that's a little bit unfortunate. I wish that he had shield skills, but he doesn't. We're going to pivot into that defender role, but that's going to mean that I need to go to the market and pick up some stuff for him. So with the 6 stat points that he got, we're going to put 2 in strength, we're going to put 3 in endurance, and I think we're going to put 1 into perception right there. That should be a decent spread because perception gives him more block chance, endurance gives him more HP because he's going to be tanking, and then strength increases his carrying capacity so that he can get into like some heavier armor. Because is he an elf? He is indeed an elf. We're going to want to replace him as a tank with a dwarf or with a orc about as soon as possible, because they just have better flat stats for it. We'll keep an eye out for it, and he'll probably get phased out at some point. But he's got 4 skill points to play around with over here. We want to max out his resistances, and we probably want to give him Focus Block, because Focus Block is going to allow him to convert a big chunk of his dodge, of which he has a lot because he's an elf. We're going to want to convert his dodge into blocking, basically. And that actually might make him workable, so we'll see as the game goes along. They're training over here. How long does he have until he levels up? So he's got 5 training days till he levels up. He's got 7 training days till he levels up, so probably not a great use of our time, but we need to actually clack these guys out with gear too. He doesn't have a shield. They've got decent starting gear, but I want to take a look around the market and see if there's anything spicy that'll really take our fighting game up to the next level. And really what we're looking for here is we're looking for anything green that's going to make them better at fighting, and also, in the case of our tank, makes them a little bit better at what they're doing. Agility and stamina might help, so I'll spend money on that even though it's expensive. Do we have any shields down here that I can mess around with? No good quality shields, so we'll just get a basic heater for right now. Armor-wise, is there anything good that I can play around with on this side? So he gets strength from right there if we put a helmet on him. Unfortunately, there's no way to compare and contrast the gear that's on your characters from inside of this menu. So in a lot of ways, you've just got to kind of remember what they need versus what they have. Some pretty expensive purchases we can make here, but I do find that with upgraded gear, your guys perform much, much better than they previously would. And so I'm willing to take the risk on it for right now to make sure that they've got all the things that they need in order to be successful. I didn't finalize his skill points, so I'll do that now. Hopefully the helmet's okay and it's not too heavy for him. Good. Shield, are you too heavy? Oh, he's right on the money. Good. I'm glad that he's a little overweight right now. How bad is it? It's minus 1%. It's not going to matter too much, so he'll be all right. He'll age into it, and we'll give him a little bit more strength so that he gets stronger. He should still be getting one-handed, I think, from his polearm, and so he's in a good spot, and I think it's time for us to take a look at the offered fights and start making some money. So let's have a look at the world map. The world map, you can get a rough idea of what you can do by the color of the icon, if it's anything like the previous game. So green icons tend to be the easier fights, blue icons are the moderate fights, and red icons are the ones you want to stay away from until your team is really trained up. They got injured while training. That's unfortunate, because I kind of need to take a fight right now. We've got a couple of chameleons right here, and I can bring in 3 guys to fight those. We might be able to take this fight right here. I probably won't bet on it, but this guy, you can take a look at their equipment and figure out what they have. He's a ranged character, and I think if I just run up on him strapped with my two-handed guy, we should be in decent shape, hopefully. You can have these auto-resolve, but I find it more satisfying to go through and play them myself. We have 2-to-1 odds, or we have 10% odds in our favor. Okay. I'm not going to bet on it just because I don't feel confident about the fight. It is a normal bow, though, so that's good. It's not a crossbow. When it's a crossbow, this can get a little hairy. You move around the outside, let them waste all their abilities in shooting. There you go. Get the kick. Okay, big hit right there. Nice hit. Give me Battle Fury. Oh, knocked back right when he was about to attack. Unfortunate. Get closer. Come on. I need you in this to win this, bro. Give me a kick. Off the arena. Like I said, there's some jank in this title. We're fighting in the air right now like Jedi. But we did win the game. There's your first example of jank that I was talking about, where this has happened multiple times in my playthrough. What I would really like is if there was a stairway that went down and allowed you to fight in the bottom, and if you got kicked off the edge of the arena like that, you took a ton of damage from falling from like 2 stories up onto your back. The crowd wants this person to die, so we're going to give it to him. Down goes our opponent. And they have been executed. We got enough XP to make it up to level 6, which is great, because that fight should have gone better against ranged guys. We should have had a little bit more of a chance right there. That's a pretty nice. I actually like that blunt. That Warhammer is sort of nice, but I'll probably sell it, or maybe I'll hold on to it for when we pick up another Gladiator. We had more injuries while training, unfortunately, so we're gonna have to wait for those to buff out. But we also have a couple of stat points to apply here in order to make our characters a little bit better. So as far as our stat points go, I think I'd like to go for some agility here. This guy is super, super stacked on strength already. He's not even using most of his penalty, so we probably want to get him some nicer armor too. He's already in medium armor right now, but we'll probably want to get him something better. Class-wise versus other pickups we can get, I think what immediately stands out to me is Hilt Strike. If we can get a 4 or 5 second stun to CC the enemy when they have us outnumbered and whatnot, that'd be really fantastic. So I'll take that right there, and hopefully that gets added onto his bar. It did indeed get added onto his bar. So I'm going to swap these things around so I have him in a spot where I want him. He's now been equipped on up. He's been leveled, and so let's have everybody hang out in the healer for a day or two. We only made like 25 bucks off that fight. A free man named Oaks has come to your arena and wants to challenge your gladiator. According to rules in the Freelands, if the challenger wins, you will pay them 60 silver. If the challenger loses, they will be your slave until his or her debt is paid. Do you accept this challenge? 60 silver is a lot of money, but we've got a little bit of overhead. I'll send in the old Gatebreaker over here, and we'll see if he does a good job. 5 seconds of stunning is a big deal, and it looks like it's a pretty even fight. I'm going to bet on my own guy so that I make some money. He's another ranged guy. Okay, as long as we can avoid the power shot, we should be good. And then we stun him up. There's the power shot. Wait for another one. All right, get on him. Kick him. Get a couple of free hits. Hilt strike him. Hilt strike's got the stun off on him. Get a little bit of damage. He's right now he's on Arsenio Hall. He was pumping it real fast. He had to pump it real quick in the middle of the arena just to let people know that he's still feeling his own vibe, okay? I think we've got him on the ropes, and we should have ourselves a free gladiator here. 46 damage. Goodness gracious. And then Madison just crested level 7. I'm trying to tell you with this game, two-handed guys are a menace. Absolute menace. But he's level 6. That's really good. He's got bad classes, though. That's unfortunate. Well, actually, he's got really good classes for a two-handed build. And he's got really good stats. Well, his intelligence is kind of misallocated. I don't know if we should actually pick this guy up. He's kind of a mess. But we won the fight. We made 20 silver off of it. And we got a gladiator that was probably going to cost us around a gold. So, could be better, could be worse. I don't think I can sell him off. Well, he's getting crit and dodge from his intelligence, which sort of makes up for the fact that his perception and agility are low. I say we just retool this guy to be a two-handed warrior and just berserk it on out like our other guy does. Worst case scenario, we just don't use him, but he seems to be in an okay position. Let's go get him all equipped out because he's got all of his points in fighter and berserker. So he's got 10 skill points in fighter berserker in exactly the right spots. It might be easier than fishing out another randomized guy over here. So do we have anything two-handed we can throw into this guy's hands just to make him a little bit more effective? A strength and endurance club would be nice. It's kind of too expensive, though, and I can't afford it right now. We'll give him a normal longsword. We've already got a medium helmet ready to rock, so I don't need to buy one of those. But we'll get him some medium boots and legs, and hopefully it works out. Let's handle Madison's level up real quick. Madison's level up, I really feel like should be focused on either HP or dodge. Let's get him up to 27% dodge. That's a really, really solid, respectable dodge number. We'll give him Hilt Strike right there. And I suppose we'll give him Power Strike. Power Strike sounds okay. Although this says it gives him cooldown reduction. Maybe I'll try that out just to see what happens. It says it increases his range on his sweeps, and it says that it makes him have faster cooldowns. So maybe we'll give that a try, because the longer, if we can rotate between Kickdown and Hilt Strike, I think we can just stun lock the enemy into submission. You are just a mess. So let's get you completely reconfigured. You've got stuff all over the place. So we'll get you all mediumed out and turn you into an actual matter-of-fact warrior. And we'll test him out on some fights pretty soon. How's everybody's health looking right now? We've only got one guy that needs to heal, and that's going to be Oaks because he just got beat up in that last fight. Let's have a look around and see if there's anything we can do. There's 3 goblins right there. Goblins, don't be fooled by goblins. They're actually pretty challenging by comparison to a lot of the other fights you can take that are green rated. These guys are level 4s, but they have us outnumbered by 1. Yeah, it's not really anything that I'm super stoked about thrusting my team into for right now. I would consider that one right there, except that I don't know what they're going to do. They've got some pretty heavy hitters, so we'll let a day pass and let people heal. There's another disagreement right there, so everybody's losing a little bit more health just on the scuffle. We have a 4v4 taking place over here with level 4 opponents, but it's already started. That one's already started as well. We've got a 1v1 on this side against somebody with shield skills. Elbert General. Well, we need to make money, so like I'm cool with just kind of letting this play out the way that it plays out. Let's go with Madison Gatebreaker. I need to train my other Berserker to have at least Hilt Strike before we go in, because if we have a third Hilt Strike, that's going to be great. I'm going to bet on myself in this fight. Oh, that guy's actually got pretty good gear, dude. Uh-oh. This was a problem in the first game, too, where occasionally you come across a god-tier Gladiator inside of a bracket that you normally wouldn't run into him. This may not work out for us. This might be a financial shortfall that's going to be painful. You go ahead and Fury, Hilt Strike him. Whatever damage you can get off, do it. Kick him, he dodged it. Our dodge is going okay too, though. Hilt Strike him. They interrupted each other. Yeah, he's got a lot of resistance. This guy is wearing, like, all blue gear, basically. Like, he's really, really strong. This used to happen in the old game, too, where very, very frequently there would occasionally just be, like, this ludicrous god-tier gladiator that would show up and, like, wreck you and ruin your finances for a day and kill one of your gladiators. So it appears as though that has not been changed from the previous title. I will say that the game needs to have a much smoother difficulty curve if it ever wants to appeal to, like, a larger audience. It needs to telegraph. Yeah, we got knocked out. Is he dead? No, he's alive. He's okay. Ah, well, what are you going to do? I lost 10 silver on that fight, too. It wouldn't cost me anything if I hadn't betted on the fight, but normally those 1v1s are kind of a gimme. So that was one of those unforeseen things that you can't quite predict. And it's one of those random things you're just going to have to learn to deal with if you play this game, is that every now and again you just get rolled by a fight that you can't handle. Today's fights are mostly locked off, but we do have a level 4 fight that I'm interested in enrolling for. And this time, I would suggest, well, we don't really have any supplements, do we? Actually, let's see how the tank does. Let's see how the tank does in this fight. Because I've been neglecting my tank this entire time. So, like, let's quit neglecting and start respecting. Okay, dodge that arrow, get in there. Apparently focusing my block didn't help with that knockback. What does this do? When active, turn 50% dodge into block rate, reduce block stamina cost, but character cannot dodge anymore. That's fine. Whatever works. Well, that worked out fantastic. Sir, are you aware that you have a shield right now? That makes you kind of impervious to arrows should you desire to use it. I figure you brought it with you. You know, you've been lugging it around on your arm. And so there, I mean, it looks like there's some kind of penetrating damage going through too, because I see both block and then I see an overlay for like 5 or 6 damage. But he seems to be turning it around. Big crit right there to bring us back into the game. Hey, he pulled it off. All right, just barely, but he pulled it off. Spalding hit level 4 on that one, which should allow us to give him a couple more abilities that are going to help him out in the long term. And we made 20 silver, which is kind of stopping the financial bleed that we're going through right now. I need to get like a couple of really good 1v1s with high bets under my belt so that we can get our finances all nice and squared away. And we've got another guy that wants to fight us. I'll accept the challenge, sure. Send out the Gatebreaker, dude. I don't know how good this guy is going to be, but we can always just like fire the Gladiator if we need to. Oh, it says this guy's pretty good. I mean, it's just a guy with a cutlass. I can't imagine he's going to be that bad. Go ahead and kick him. There you go. Get your Battle Fury running. Stun that nerd. Yup, fit him up with that big old helm breaker right there. Kick him. Keep him on the ground as much as possible. Follow it up. Dude, we are so lucky we have Madison Gatebreaker right now. Madison Gatebreaker, kind of the Steph Curry of our team, all right? He's kind of the Steph Curry right now. Like, we have other guys waiting in the wings at the moment to get like a little bit better that can like sometimes perform, you know? But we need to find him like a Healed. We need to find him like a Waters. We need to find him like a GP2, you know what I mean? He needs like some backup out here. Every Jordan needs their Pippen. Otherwise the gimmick doesn't work, all right? It looks like it didn't give me my Gladiator. Was that a different event? Strange. Well, we made 20 silver off of it, so that's perfectly fine. And Spalding leveled up. He doesn't have nearly enough like active abilities, so we need to get him some more tanky type things to fool around with. Be careful. So this game has a weird quirk. It existed in the last game too. You can't use one-handed skills while wielding a shield. I don't know why that's the case, because it goes against like 8,000 years of military history. Like, we all know from reading a history book that every single spearman and hoplite that's ever existed in the history of humanity forgot how to use his main hand weapon the second he held a shield, but it's a thing in this game. So if you're going to have a guy with a spear and a shield, don't put a whole bunch of points into their one-handed, because they're not going to be able to use any of that. Instead, consider adding points to shield down here. Let's give him a pocket stun. A pocket stun would be good. And some more strength to get rid of his armor penalty, because realistically, we want to get him somewhere. I mean, he's never going to be a good tank because he's an elf, but right now he's a serviceable tank. If we wanted a good tank, we want like a orc or we want a dwarf. They tend to tank really well because they get fat bonuses to their weight carrying class, so they can strap on gear that's way heavier than what they should be able to equip at their current level, which allows them to get an advantage over the opponent. We're making him work right now. He's got a 46% block rate. I don't know if I believe that or not, having fiddled around with him in the training arena. But one thing that is abundantly clear is that I need to level up Oaks. Oaks needs to level up. And Oaks has no two-handed ability, so we actually need to send him into like a formalized training session, and we'll do that with Spalding, because Spalding could do with a little bit of shield ability too. So send them in to spar with one another, and we'll see what we can work out here as far as extra goodies goes. Okay, big stun out right there, big stab. I just need him to land hits. That's pretty much it. He needs to land hits, and he needs to get his two-handed skill up to like level 10. Unfortunately, this is the only way to really do it, and it's not going to be hugely efficient. I shouldn't have given him the block ability before we trained. Sometimes it's a good idea, like in the first game, to just have a guy who does your training, and when he does your training, you just have tons of HP on him, but he has no abilities and like a weapon that he has no skill in, so that the other guy can beat on him and get his skills up. Oh, he's trying to yield. Dude, just finish him off, man. Just finish him off. I don't really care about the XP. All I really care about, how beat up is he right now? Not that beat up, actually. We could probably send him in for another round. Let's send him in for another one, because even if he can get like 7 or 8 points in two-handed, it'll make him a lot more useful. Come on. Land your shots. Okay, good land. Good land. Keeping up with a way more skilled opponent right now. That's what I like to see. The problem with Oaks is that he's got all of his passives in the right spot, but none of his actives are ready yet. 2 level ups in one fight. Good. He did better that time. Like, that was much more efficient. So far, he's gotten 3 two-handed skill. I might throw them at each other a couple more times just to really get him dialed in. I also think it'd be a good idea with Spalding. It's going to take a little while, but I need to retrain his secondary class. Him having marksman or whatever, yeah, archery in there. So you can put them in the training arena to start them off on a new class path. And I would much rather he have commander. Commander tends to go really well with defender. So it may be time for us to hire some staff as well, like people that can be the drill master or whatever to make these things work. Because I think in the case of Madison Gatebreaker as well, he's only got Gladiator, and if I can give him Berserker on top of that, we'll have 2 Gladiator Berserkers, which will give us a really strong opening team that's got a lot of DPS and a lot of crowd control. I mean, we're stacking a lot of stuns right now, and so I think it's a good idea. So after running about 1,000 trainings, I just recalled I just noticed anyways, I didn't recall it, but training doesn't pass a day if you do the practice fights to level up their proficiencies, and so their HP can only go down so much from training in the practice arena. Might as well if you're trying to get people back up to speed. He's at 94%. I should probably put guys in training over here just so they can learn a little bit. And now it's time for us to find a closing fight. This game has already started. That sucks because it's a 2-team. I could have taken in 2 guys, which would have been really nice. A giant bat. We're forbidden from entering, so I'm guessing we're not prestigious enough for that fight just yet. A lioness with a 3-man team, huh? I don't know. I guess we give it a try. Let's send him in to fight the lioness. How big is the lion? Is it like a small lion? Is it like a lion that just got out of lion basic training, or is it like the gunnery sergeant of lions? Like what kind of like veterancy levels are we looking at with this lion right here? Anything nasty? Okay, so Madison, run for your damn life. That's my first piece of advice for you. Get that lion. Can I hilt strike the lion? I can? Oh, we can stun lock the lion? Easy peasy, dude. I thought the lion was going to be a lot worse than that. As it turns out, lions pretty susceptible to getting stabbed in the face with a sword, so if you can stun lock them and make it happen, we got some crafting materials for that. I didn't bet on the fight, so I didn't make any money. I wasn't sure what I was walking into with the lion, so I didn't want to put, like, a bunch of injury on top of insult if I came out on the bottom right there, but we recovered our money from our training session, and we got some renown, so that's good, and Oaks is now finally useful. Well, sort of. He can't get hilt strike yet. I would like for him to get hilt strike, but hilt strike he hath not. So instead, we'll go for kick down. It gives him some kind of control over the fight. It'll also make his training more effective because when I put him up against the shield guy, he can kick him and get a couple swings off to level up his two-handed. With you, I have found that you are just getting absolutely bodied in fights when it comes to, like, not dodging as much as I would like you to. So take a little bit more dodge. 28% is definitely better than 25% if we're on like a 100-point spread. And I'm pretty happy with what we've got going on right now. Is anybody like hideously mangled? Nobody appears to be hideously mangled, so we'll just pass a day. A wandering merchant has gladiator equipment. I guess I can look. A rare falchion. Gives agility, block rate, and dodge. It is pretty good, and it's pretty, well, it's a $120. Ugh. We'll be riding it kind of low. Even after vendoring everything I have, I don't feel comfortable getting my cash down that low. I have a general rule when I used to play the old game that, like, never get down below 1 gold, because then you're going to be making decisions based on desperation rather than logic. Like, you're going to be chasing the high, basically. A 3-on-3, huh? Okay, so they've got a dual-wielding commander. They've got a ranged guy. And they've got a two-handed polearm guy. We can give it a stab. I feel like our team's coming together. I feel like we're getting there. Like, I feel like we're finally making it over the hump right now where fights are starting to look appealing. Your guys can die in the arena, by the way. It's totally possible that they just die at the outset. These dudes over here, what are they trying to do here today? So who do I want to go after? Crossbow guy is a problem, but also polearm guy is a problem. So Madison and you go after him. Spalding, come down here and deal with him, I suppose. I'm going to slow this fight down a little bit. Big hits off right there because it's easier for me to focus when I have this. Hit him with your shield. You still have hilt strike, so get that off on him. They have a healer, which is unfortunate. There we go. Stun him up. Spalding appears to be doing okay on that side. Go ahead and get your Battle Fury rocking. Big dodge right there. Love to see it. Another knockdown out. Oh, this guy's getting tore up. There we go. Good stuff. Oaks, while you're over here, get on the archer. Spalding, how are we doing over here? Shield bash. There we go. Okay, so they're down. You both get on the archer. Whatever you feel like you can pull off right now, I accept. Get him with a kick. Spalding's HP is holding steady against the dual wielder. I haven't found dual wielding to be incredibly effective. I've made a couple of dual wield characters in my training, air quotes, for this video, but they want him to die. Okay, die. 10 favor, and all 3 of them are now put to death, but it doesn't fix the game speed settings. When you go into the execution part, it's still running at half speed. Like I said, dude, this game is a jank fest, but if you can get through it, there's not a lot of Gladiator games out there that allow you to build as in-depth as this one. So some observations about my time with the game. Blackthorn Arena Reforged, I think, is a much better version of the previous game. The first game, you really had to fight your way through the bugs and the jank to get to that nougaty center that was tasty, and it's much less daunting this time around the block. It's less buggy and janky, but it is still buggy and janky to a level that won't satisfy like AA sort of Hades level purists. But I do think that this is a much more playable version of the game than when it first came out. The remaster feels solid with the new graphics and the new models, stuff like that. Combat feels smoother. It feels more satisfying. It feels almost more RTS MMORPG-like, which I very much like about it. Character building feels deep and engaging. I wish that management portions of the game were a bit more textured, but that out of the way, it's a great gladiator brawler in a genre that we rarely get. A real-time, with pause, gladiator RPG. Typically, gladiator games are almost universally turn-based, or they are just real-time sort of fighting games where you're just throwing yourself at the enemy like we who are about to die. And so that alone right there, I think, is a solid selling point for a lot of people because this type of gladiator game doesn't really exist. There are probably people among you asking, okay, but why would I shell out when the original game exists and the new game is just a remaster? Well, it's got new content. It's got updated graphics. It's got a significantly higher level of polish compared to the first game. There's still some polish to be done. I can't make that clear enough, but if this had been like the first patch of Blackthorn Arena, I think the game would have probably released a thunderous applause. And if that doesn't get you excited enough to begin with, then the developers also said that anybody who owns Blackthorn Arena gets the remaster automatically for free when the remaster comes out. That's an awesome integrity play. I cannot encourage developers to do stuff like this enough. If you released a game and it was kind of like, 5 or 6 out of 10, it kind of had a middling reception, and you spent the next 3 years polishing it and making it better, but nobody seemed to come back, so you decided to do a remaster because you really believe in this idea. Giving the remaster to people free who bought your previous game when it was in a terrible state is a great idea. Fantastic. Cannot express that enough. That's exactly what I would do if I was in your position, and it's the right move. For those of you that have never played this game before and would be buying it fresh, if you've got the stomach for some missing gameplay polish, a little bit of jank, commensurate to what you would see in a Piranha Bytes game. If you don't mind that there's some quality of life missing in the UI that can make item buying and things like that more of a memorization game than anything else, and if you're okay with the management and crafting portion of the game being a little bit undercooked, the Gladiator combat in this game is rock solid, enjoyable, the character building is fun, but it will come at the cost of a moderate learning curve and the initial randomness of getting good versus crappy gladiators when you start the game out. I would highly recommend that the developer have a box that you can tick when you start the game that allows you to create your first starting gladiators, just as a salve for that, because getting bad gladiators, like if you get a dual wielder and an archer as your first 2 gladiators, the game's really going to suck for you. It's going to be a real tough game for you. You kind of want to start out with like a tank and something else. Bare minimum, you kind of want to start out with a tank, and as long as you've got that, you can kind of make it work with creative taunting and kiting and things of that nature. But if you don't get like a tank or a two-hander in your starting duo, I would just re-roll it personally. Just because it makes the game unnecessarily nasty at the start. You've got to really, really pick and choose your fights, and it can take days and days and days of just passing turns to find those perfect fights. You're going to be subject to hiring random guys in the market who may not have skills where you want them, which then means you've got to retrain them and respec them, which takes time. Just re-roll it real quick. It'll save you some time. I'll fairly admit it took me a good 2 hours to get comfortable with this game. That's about the learning curve that I ran into. I was losing a lot, and then it kind of clicked an hour and a half or so in, and after that I had a great time. I started stacking wins once I started paying attention to stats and understanding how the systems worked. Like I said, though, polish work to be done here. Hopefully follows up with some more polish patches to get rid of some of the bugs. I'd love to see, as a suggestion, the Ludus and the workshop crafting portion of the game expand out quite a bit more. The game really needs a lot more random events to flesh out the gameplay between fights, but I will say that the fundamentals are here, and I did have a good time, so my impressions are positive. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile so that you don't have to in the world of indie gaming. I'll catch y'all tomorrow, but that's all I got for you, folks. Bye.